You are Locked On Giants Postcast, part of Locked On Sports Bay Area, on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Yo, what's up, everybody, and welcome back to the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. You may know me as the former producer from the Murph and Mac Morning Show on KMBR 680. And tonight, Keaton Winn pitched an absolute gem at Oracle Park as the Giants beat the Mets 5-2. Keaton Winn has been locked in all season long and finally got some run support in this one. Matt Chapman, Nick Ahmed, and Michael Conforto all drove in runs tonight, including a big home run from Michael Conforto against his former team, the New York Mets. We will break it all down, but first, I want to thank all of you for watching on the Locked On Sports Bay Area YouTube channel. If you aren't already subscribed, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button right now. Thanks also for listening on the Locked On Giants podcast feed. However you're tuning into the show, we appreciate you checking it out. And make sure to check out the Locked On Giants Daily Show for more in-depth coverage. Ben Kaspick does a great job breaking down all the numbers you need to know. And today's show is brought to you by eBay Motors. From brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to bring home that big win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay guaranteed fit only available to U.S. customers. The Giants jumped out to another early lead in this one. Early leads are becoming like a regular thing for them. I like it. Bottom two, Giants load the bases with 2 outs. Nick Ahmed at the plate. 0-2 count. This is not the guy that you want up in that situation, but Ahmed laces one up the middle. Lindor dives for it on the sharp ground ball. He gets a piece of it, but couldn't make the play. Bounces into center field, and Giants manage to score 2 runs on the play. Conforto on his horse scores from second base. The Giants take an early 2-0 lead in the bottom of the second. And really, that's all Keaton Winn needed. I mean, they got a couple more runs in this one, bottom third. Wilmer Flores and Jung-Hoo Lee get on base. First 2 batters of the inning with nobody out. First and second, Soler strikes out. That's something we got to talk about. Soler has not really been that great with runners in scoring position. You want to see him start coming through in these at-bats, but Matt Chapman bails him out. I mean, we would be talking a lot more about Jorge Soler tonight if Matt Chapman didn't come up immediately afterwards and double to score. Both Flores and Jung-Hoo Lee hit the ball down that line, and Brandon Nimmo actually looked like he had a beat on it, and he was going to cut that ball off before it got all the way to the wall, but right at the last second, he kind of like gave up on it, pulled the glove back, and that ball rolled all the way to the wall, just kept on rolling, and that allowed both runs to score, the Giants to take a 4-0 lead. And let me tell you, the way Keaton Winn's been pitching, you give him a 4-0 lead, you just sit back and watch him go to work. And tonight, that's what happened with the Giants. I mean, this guy has been locked in all season long. He has not gotten very much run support. This is the most offense that the Giants have produced for Keaton Winn in any game this year so far. He's picks up his second win on the season and back-to-back wins. His last outing picked up a win on April 17th against the Marlins. So good for Keaton Winn to get in the win column. Good for the Giants to finally give this guy some run support. He's been pitching great all season long. Of course, the ground ball specialist. He's always getting ground outs and rarely gives up big home runs, rarely walks guys. And tonight that benefited him a lot because those 2 things equate to minimal base runners. And when he eventually did give up a solo shot to Pete Alonso in the top of the 5th, it was just that, a solo shot. It didn't hurt the Giants too bad. It still retained a 4-1 lead. I mean, it didn't really feel like, it was all that detrimental at all. And the Pete Alonso home run was on a nice pitch. That pitch was low and inside. Alonso just went down and got it, golfed it out over the left field wall. And, I'm kind of just wondering, we've been talking about trade targets for the Giants. A Pete Alonso, Keaton Winn trade, maybe later on down the line. Who knows? The Giants obviously have a ton of arms that they need to get up into the big league club from the farm fairly soon, but Keaton Winn has proven his worth every single time he's on the mound. Like, he's kind of slowly becoming a guy that you don't know if you really want to trade him. Like, I know that they could get a lot back for him at this point. I mean, his for every bit the Giants fans don't want to trade this guy, the more he pitches well, that's just how much more his value increases over time. And are we going to get to a point where you could see like a Keaton Winn for like a guy like Pete Alonso straight up? I mean, Alonso's a little older, Keaton Winn's younger, under team control for quite a while. I'm not saying that that's the guy they're going to go get, but a guy like that is probably who they need. A guy who's under team control for a few years. I don't know if Alonso's contract is suitable for what the Giants are looking for. I'd have to look more into that, but a big bat like that who can hit in the middle of the order and really change this lineup might be what they end up shopping Keaton Winn around for. And another performance like this tonight only shows one of two things for the Giants, that they're either going to hold on to this guy because he's now becoming so valuable as a piece of this pitching staff, and then maybe you can move off some of these other prospects and really get something valuable in return, or you're just going to end up trading Keaton Winn and you're going to get back something very, very nice, something that you couldn't have got in this offseason for a Keaton Winn. I mean, his value right now is going through the roof with every start. This guy is just locked in on the mound, and he's not a big strikeout guy, but tonight, I mean, he can get them when he needs them. But tonight, 6 strikeouts on the mound in 6 innings for Keaton Winn. I'll take that any day of the week. Great performance from him. Gave up 4 hits, 1 run, only 1 walk, and of course that 1 solo shot to Pete Alonso, the polar bear, the 1-run home run, the only run he gave up of the night. He threw 87 pitches out there on the mound. 60 of them were for strikes, and he got 7 ground ball outs in this one. Again, just masterful work on the bump for Keaton Winn. He more than, I mean, like 2/3 of his outs are coming by way of strikeouts and ground outs. That's great. That's a hallmark of a solid, durable pitcher, a guy who knows how to pitch, not just knows how to throw. He's not up there relying on an electric fastball or some great, slider or curveball. Like, this guy's up there throwing 4 different pitches pretty frequently. I mean, the slider is the one he throws least often, and he's throwing that 16% of the time. So this guy's got 4 effective pitches that he's using: the splitter, the sinker, the 4-seamer, and the slider. And he's using them all effectively. The sinker and the splitter are just, that combo is nasty, man. That split finger, you saw him using that a ton tonight. It was very effective. And obviously a pitch like that is going to get a ton of ground ball outs. You've seen Jordan Hicks really leaning on that this year too. He's turned into another big time ground ball pitcher for the Giants as well. The splitter is becoming an absolute weapon on this Giants pitching staff. There's a lot of splitter sinker baller pitchers on this staff. Logan Webb, of course, with the nice sinker. All sorts of guys on the staff now developing into legit ground ball pitchers. And there's not too many of these guys left in the big. So for the Giants to have 3 very, very solid ground ball guys that look to get outs, pitching to contact, like this is a throwback to like baseball in the early 2000s, the late 90s. Like, teams don't pitch this way anymore, but here we got this in San Francisco, and it is working so effectively. The Giants picking up another win at home on this homestand. They're now 11-13 on the year. They're climbing closer and closer and closer back to 500. If you can win this series, let's say they split the final 2 games, like, just for argument's sake, you're 2 games back. Can you sweep the Pirates and finish this homestand 500? I mean, I think you can. The Pirates haven't been playing that well lately. You have a golden opportunity here on this homestand. If the Giants can win, it's a lot to ask, but 4 of these last 5 games, that would go a long way for them in climbing back to NL West contention. The Dodgers haven't been playing well as of late. They've left the window open for the Giants to kind of creep back in. It's made this slow start not as painful, not as bad. It's totally feasible for the Giants to be able to recover from where they're at. Yes, the season started slower than we would have liked as a fan base, but that happens. That you, especially on teams when you got all sorts of new guys, all sorts of new pieces. You got your biggest free agent signing didn't play all of spring training. Blake Snell is the biggest question mark on this pitching staff right now. And he's also like the number 1 free agent that you wanted to go and acquire this offseason. So that's, I think, pretty indicative of where this team is at. Like, Blake Snell, if he's your biggest concern, you are fine. Jorge Soler, if he's your biggest concern offensively, the Giants are going to be fine. The Giants are going to be just fine. Their pitching staff is so unbelievably solid. This bullpen is pretty good. Nick Avila, unfortunately for him, got sent back down to AAA day after a not great performance, after not showing so well in that Diamondback series. He goes back down to Sacramento, and Luke Jackson activated back from the injured list. I mean, there's another weapon out of the bullpen that we haven't seen a whole lot this year. I mean, he got hurt early in the season with the back issue, but Luke Jackson, that's a guy that they had pegged to be their setup guy, like their number 2 guy in the bullpen. And with all their arms that they have working really well right now, Ryan Walker just looks so locked in. And I mean, all these guys pitching at the top of their game right now, you have like 2 to 3 full batteries worth of bullpen relievers that are just going to come in and mow guys down, going to continue to get stronger as the season goes on. This bullpen, I'm really excited about. This starting pitching staff, I'm really excited about. And this defense, I'm really excited about too. And you know what? That's the recipe the Giants had when they were winning championships, when they were winning World Series, when they became a dynasty in the 2010s. It wasn't on the back of 30 home runs a year from insert random power hitter here. No, as you guys know, they have not had that since Barry Bonds left this team. Didn't stop him from winning 3 World Series. And this team has a lot of similar makeup to those teams. Scrappy offense. I would say this offense is almost better than a lot of those teams. I mean, you don't have a Buster Posey, you don't have Hunter Pence, but you do have consistent guys who can hit consistently. Haven't been so far this year, but can hit pretty consistently up and down through this order. I mean, Thairo Estrada is gonna come around eventually. Hopefully becomes close to what he was last season. Jorge Soler, Matt Chapman, those guys are going to come around. Mike Yastrzemski, he's going to come around. Wilmer Flores, he's going to come around. Picked up another hit tonight. Jung-Hoo Lee doesn't need to come around. We already know what he's providing the Giants. All-star level, rookie of the year level, center field and leadoff batting every single night. Michael Conforto had another nice night at the dish, goes yard against his former team. These guys are going to start hitting. He wasn't out there tonight, but Pat Bailey also coming around as of late. And Nick Ahmed has really been hitting well lately as well. The whole bottom of the order really contributed in this one and has been contributed a lot last night as well. So we got to talk about the bottom of the order and a little bit more about Keaton Winn on the other side. The Giants roller coaster continues up and down, cannot score more than 5 runs in consecutive games. This is still an issue for the Giants, and this is why they're so inconsistent. This is why they win one night and not the next. Stick with us as we roll on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. Passion, drive, and patience. What brings home the winning trophy is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. From superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more, whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has got you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to turn your car into the MVP and bring home that win. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. We've all been there, either as a player or a fan. It's halftime and the scoreboard isn't looking good. You're feeling low, not sure you or your team can pull out a win. That's when you dig deep, lift your head up, and say to yourself, time to get back in the game, pull off some bank heists, and take as much of my friend's money as I possibly can. That's right, the smash hit mobile game Monopoly Go lets you compete with your friends to get the most riches and the biggest empire. It's the Monopoly you love, but on your phone, anytime, with tons of new twists, including leaderboards to compare your progress to your buddies. There's so much to do. Play on countless dynamic Monopoly boards, make your friends bankrupt by smashing their landmarks with a wrecking ball, charge other players rent for your iconic properties. You can even work with your friends to crack open community chests and in tournaments to get rewards and climb up that leaderboard. So get back out there, put on your game face, and download Monopoly Go, now for free on the App Store or Google Play. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Tonight, the Giants pull out a win 5-2 over the New York Mets, and it did get a little bit dicey there at the end. Camilo Doval coming in, not in a save situation, but coming in to close this one out. He hasn't really had too many opportunities to pitch this year. I think the Giants want to get him throwing a little more consistently. And I mean, first of all, how about that entrance, man? Camilo Doval coming in from the bullpen, that light show, the way the whole field was like glowing orange, like he has that like little flame, the flames on the scoreboard, you know what I'm talking about, for his entry, and it looks pretty cool, man. But the whole vibe with his warm-up song and everything, like his pace that he comes in with, it's a vibe, man. Like, closers have always had like pretty unique, extravagant entries, like the Enter Sandman for Mariano Rivera, Trevor Hoffman with the Hells Bells. Like, I remember so many different closers, like in today's baseball. You got Edwin Diaz with the trumpets, going with the horns, the Timmy Trumpet song. I don't remember what the hell the thing is called, but people love it. People are very, very, very into all of these closer entrances, and Camilo Doval's is just as good as anyone else in the bigs. I mean, it gets me going. I'm sure it gets you guys going too. But that was a pretty fun little light show. The Giants' light system is they're showing off these last couple of days, and they finally had reasons to, because the first homestand we didn't really see Camilo Doval. We didn't see any home runs. Now we didn't see a lot of wins, but now we got the Giants doing, being able to use their light show at home games at night, and that's kind of fun. Anyways, Camilo Doval comes on and makes this last inning a lot more stressful than it needed to be. He allows a run to score on a wild pitch. Murphy has been a little uninspiring back there behind the dish. I think it was scored a wild pitch, but I think that wild pitch that the run scored on, I think Pat Bailey blocks that, man. I don't think that goes 9-hole on him, goes right between his legs. I think Pat Bailey blocks that ball. So Murphy, who was brought over here not for his defense, but for his bat, also has not been hitting. Not even batting 100, not even batting his body weight, not even batting half his body weight. So you hope that turns around. He's obviously not there for his defense, so it's a bummer that the ball goes 9-hole on him, and that'll happen a few times this season to Tom Murphy. He's not a defensive specialist back there behind the plate. He's there to spell Pat Bailey and be able to give the Giants some production at the plate, which we've yet to see. But even though he was batting in the bottom of the order, the rest of the bottom of the order, Nick Ahmed has been hitting great lately. Tyro Estrada been hitting pretty well lately. And even though Estrada and Murphy didn't pick up hits in this one, they both drew walks. They both got on base tonight. Nick Ahmed, 2 hits, 2 RBIs, 2 for 4 tonight. All 3 guys in the bottom of your order getting on base in this one. And if you want to extend it even further, if you look at 1, 2, 3, 4, the first 4 batters in this Giants order, none of them had an RBI. None of those players were able to drive in runs. It was the bottom of the order. It was Matt Chapman, Michael Conforto, and Nick Ahmed, who none of those guys are in the top 4 batting spots in this Giants lineup. This is the other guys in the lineup getting it done. And that's huge for the Giants, because you're not going to get production from the top of your order every single day, especially when you have guys slumping in a new uniform. Chapman, Soler have yet to find their comfortability at the plate. Soler's been getting some good contact lately, but you can tell that he's not using that whole body of his. He's not getting every ounce of power into anything yet. He had that 440-foot moonshot the other day. Like, he's had some nice balls off the bat, but it doesn't look like he's putting consecutive at-bats together that like strike fear into the heart of your opponents. And that's what he did all season last year. It's what I expect him to get back to at some point or another this season. There's no way that a guy like Soler stays down all year long. But while he is, and the rest of this top of the order is not producing the way that you need them to, these other guys are really picking up the Giants. Nick Ahmed has been swinging the bat really well. I think this Arizona Diamondbacks series got him going. He was playing like at another level that series. I mean, I don't know if you guys noticed this, but in the field, he was aggressive, like so aggressive. He didn't want to just throw guys out at first. He wanted them to be like embarrassed, like thrown out by like 5-6 steps at first base. He wanted to get in on the home run party against the Diamondbacks. He wanted so badly to show the team that gave up on him in the middle of a playoff run, in the middle of September of last season. He was, remember, the franchise all-time leader in games played at shortstop, and you just unceremoniously DFA this guy in the middle of a playoff push. Of course, that guy is going to spend the rest of his career trying to stick it to you, trying to show you you made the wrong choice. And I feel like Nick Ahmed, it just got him going, man. Like, if he continues this run, this is going to really change the Giants' order, where if you have a couple of guys at the bottom of the lineup that are able to get on base, I mean, Tyro has some power. He's going to be scary, like as a 7-8 hitter. I think that's like a scary guy to have that far down in the lineup for a lot of pitchers. And if Nick Ahmed is starting to hit with consistency and even with a little bit of power, he's making solid contact on these balls off the bat. If he's able to do something out of the 9-hole, that completely changes things for the top of the order, because Jung-Hoo, who actually batted third again tonight, and I've made my feelings about that clear on prior shows, if he bats leadoff and you set the table for him, that just keeps the train rolling. That just keeps the momentum going. It keeps everything, the merry-go-round just keeps on spinning. If everybody in this lineup can hit and get on base and find ways to score runs and strike fear into your opponent, this is all good news for the Giants. And if they can keep them afloat and help them hover around 500, just imagine when all these big bats, the Soler and the Chapmans and Wilmer and all these other guys start actually hitting. Watch out, because if the rest of this batting order is already getting on base, the Giants are going to start driving in a ton of runs. And if they're middling around 500 before then, that's going to be what puts them over the top. And I really think it's only a matter of time before these guys get going. Jorge Soler is too good of a player to be held down for too much longer. Matt Chapman, too good of a player to be held down for too much longer at the dish. You see both of these guys starting to hit more and more. Chapman with the 2-run double down the line tonight. Soler had a couple hits in this one as well, did score a run. The Giants are coming around. They're coming around, and we just need some consistency with this offense. I told you guys we were going to get into more Keaton Winn stuff. We will. We got to take a quick break here. More on the other side. Keaton Winn discussion. He was on one tonight. Another gem from Keaton Winn, but that's just what we've grown to expect from the young arm this season. The young starter who surprised a lot of people, I think, last year, being the first of this pitching prospect crop to come up from Sacramento. More on Keaton Winn and what he's shown for the Giants so far in this early season. Stick with us on the Locked On Giants postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will be right back. It's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball is in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to bet on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150 win or lose. Bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on an app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Welcome back to the Locked On Giants postcast. I am your host, Eric Triple E Engel. Tonight, the Giants 5-2 win over the New York Mets, and Keaton Winn pitched a gem. Keaton Winn has been doing this all season long, man. He is so good at getting ground balls. 56.7% of the time, this guy's getting a ground ball. 7 more ground ball outs tonight. He had 6 strikeouts. His chase percent also climbing up there, 32.9%. He's getting batters chase. He's shown that he's more than just a number 5 pitcher. On most other teams, this guy's climbing up that pitching staff and making a case for himself to be a solidified 3. I mean, in some cases 4, some cases even a 2. But with this Giants pitching staff that is so deep right now, you got Logan Webb, you got Blake Snell, you got Kyle Harrison, you got Jordan Hicks, you got Keaton Winn as your number 5 starter. And this guy has been electric this season. Again, tonight, he only gives up 1 run in the 6 innings of work. We saw him come out for the 7th inning, the first time that we've seen that from him this year, but he did let 2 runners get on pretty quickly. First 2 batters he faced that inning, he lets them get on. Ryan Walker came in and mopped up that inning. No damage done. So no, those runs that would have been charged to Keaton Winn, he's got to send Ryan Walker a thank you card or something, because keeping that ERA down, it's plummeting and plummeting and plummeting. I mean, he has been so good this year. Even just coming into tonight, he had a 4.09 ERA. Coming into tonight, it's now going to drop even lower than that. And he hasn't given up more than 4 earned runs in any start this season. That only happened one time against the Padres, his second start of the year. First start of the year against the Dodgers, he only gives up 3 earned runs. This guy has been so good for the Giants. This is now his 3rd consecutive start where he gives up 2 or less earned runs. He is becoming such a reliable arm as your number 5 starter. Number 5 starter. This is a luxury for the Giants to have. And we've said this so many times on the podcast, but you got so many pitchers waiting to come up in this farm system, in the bullpen, that are ready to convert into starters. Landon Roop, Carson Wisenhunt. I mean, you have Mason Black. You got Alex Cobb coming back from injury in a couple weeks. It's getting closer and closer. The Giants are going to have a plethora, a cornucopia, if you will, of starting pitchers to choose from. They're going to need to figure out what they're going to do. And Keaton Winn, I mean, I've been advocating for the Giants to trade a guy like Keaton Winn. Every start like this, man, it makes that decision even harder and harder, because I don't know if you can trade a guy who doesn't give up more than 3 earned runs in a start and more than 2 earned runs in a start. If he's this young, pitching this well, I mean, this guy is incredible. From a tiny town in Iowa, just a few hundred people population. He is just got all sorts of I don't know how he got all this moxie for the big leagues coming from such a small little place. It's like he's just so unfazed by the big moment, by the lights, I mean, he came up and he had a up and down year last year, but he did show some signs in nine appearances last year. He had 5 starts, and he did end up coming in from the bullpen a couple times. He had a save last year, 4.68 ERA overall. For a rookie, that's not bad. I mean, he's still very, very, very young. I mean, this guy's 26 years old. The 6'4", 238. He's a big dude. He's going to be able to eat innings. This guy, the way he pitches, his body size, his body type, he's going to be able to do this consistently for the whole season. I mean, a lot of the young guys, you wonder, is their arm going to hold up? I have 0 questions about if Keaton Winn's arm is going to hold up because of the way he pitches. He's not reaching back to try and touch triple digits. He's not throwing a ton of weird, knuckle curves and pitches that are going to really put a lot of torque, breaking balls that are going to put a lot of torque on that elbow. He throws that slider, but he only throws it 16% of the time. He's throwing sinkers, splitters, and fastballs. I think he's setting himself up nice for a long season. I mean, 150 innings, I think, is feasible for a guy like Keaton Winn this year. I think that's totally reasonable. Who knows? The sky's the limit for this kid, honestly. Every start that he makes even more of a case for himself to, 1, stick around with the Giants and not get traded for a big bat, and 2, to work his way up in this pitching rotation. Although I don't know who he's going to leapfrog, because everybody's pitching well. But I mean, you compare him to the other young arm in this starting rotation, Kyle Harrison. Keaton Winn's been better, man, and Harrison is the one that we're all enamored with and hold up as the best prospect in the organization. But it has been Keaton Winn who has been the best pitcher so far for the Giants. Doesn't have that Kyle Harrison stuff, but he's got a big old brain on that body, and he knows how to use it out there on the hill. He's cerebrally getting guys out on the hill. He knows how to pitch to guys. He knows what he needs to do in certain situations to get a ground ball, to pitch to contact. And when he needs a strikeout, he can reach back and get it. This guy is proving to be a really special player on the mound for the Giants. And I think I don't know, man. I keep saying they got to trade him for a bat, but he's forcing you to look at other options. I think you still got to eventually make a trade for a bat. I think that needs to happen, but every start that Keaton Winn has like this makes the case for him to stick around even longer as a Giant, or for them to get back a multi-time all-star who is under team control for a while, because this guy his value right now is through the freaking roof. Wow. Great game tonight. Giants win 5-2 again over the New York Mets. The first game of a 3-game set. They play again tomorrow, and we will come to you live after that one goes final, after the final pitch. So make sure you tap in to Locked On Giants Postcast tomorrow night. That's about all the time we have for you today. Again, 5-2 over the New York Mets. Giants win. Duvall comes in, a Duvall appearance, no save, not a save situation. A Keaton win. Is Keaton Winn Day turning into Win Day? I'll stop with the puns now. You guys don't have to suffer through too many more. Thanks for joining on the Locked On Giants Postcast. I'm your host, Eric Triple E Engel. We will see you next time. Peace.